Wow, can you hear the power lines crackling? I'm sure I'm getting zapped with something. What? What? I don't know what. I don't know where they're coming from or where they're going, but I'm in the middle of the Mojave Desert between Mojave and Tehachapi on Wednesday, 9/11, 2019, at around noonish. Oh, sounds like Morse code. Okay, that's enough. See you later, bye. Keep it green, keep it clean. There's all kinds of tires out here. Somebody needs to come out and pick them up. Howdy, Jack here. Just to let you know that I've got a new job outside most of the time. It's outside all of the time. I was going to say most of the time. It's outside all the time. But that's nothing new to people who work outside all the time. That is just a little unfamiliar for me because I've been so used to working in an office for so long, and I have a healthy respect now for people who do work outside, kind of like, meter readers and road crews and construction guys and who else? Agricultural workers, tennis players, traffic coordinators, mail persons, that kind of thing. And but the one thing I noticed, I'm just amazed at all the trash that I see everywhere. On the side of the road, in people's yards, along the railroad tracks, everywhere. It's just blowing in the wind and collecting against the fences and in the streets. It's kind of sad. And I don't know. I mean, I could spend all day picking it up when I see it, but I have other work to do. So what I've decided to do is that I normally do is whatever I bring into the field, like water or food or anything to eat, that I take everything with me. I don't put anything in a dumpster, the garbage or anything, so that it doesn't go in the landfill. I bring everything back home with me. I guess that's the least I can do, but I don't know how people do it outside all day, every day. My job is only temporary, but I'll be okay. But I just wanted to let you know what I'm doing, a little change in my daily routine. So I'm just... I have more respect for people who work outside, and I am moved more now to do something to help clean up the environment because it's just getting trashed, and we have to stop it. And cities need to, or groups of people, cities need to have cleanup crews out there to help pick up some of this trash because it's not going to go away on its own. And on that note, that's all I have to say right now. So back to business. And just a reminder to keep it clean and keep it green to the best of your ability. Okay? Thanks for listening. See you soon. Bye. Oh, and cell tower workers. Oh, Nicholas, almost forgot. My great nephew, Nicholas. Cell tower workers, solar panel maintenance crew. It's all kinds of jobs outside. I have a healthy respect for all you guys and girls. Keep up the good work and talk to you later. Bye.
Operation Teapot, the latest addition to our Encyclopedia of Nuclear Testing, bears the dateline Spring, 1955. For the fifth time in continental testing, the symbol of nuclear power rose over the mountains of Nevada. This series encompassed so many objectives that preparations began while there was still snow on the mountains surrounding the Nevada test site and in the valley north of Yucca Flat. Although the 7 programs conducted by the Military Effects Group included some 50 different projects and participated in all 14 shots, the most important military effects studies were concerned primarily with 3 shots: an underground, a tower, and a high-altitude burst. For example, on Upshot Knot Hole, jeeps were exposed in both shots 9 and 10 to overpressures of approximately 9 psi. On shot 9, only moderate damage. On shot 10, a low burst, the damage was extremely severe, in many cases completely demolishing the vehicles at the same overpressure that produced moderate damage on shot 9, a high burst. Dynamic pressures were much higher for the low burst, which produced a dust-laden precursor blast wave. Was dust an important factor? Did the precursor increase the damage effectiveness of a low burst? Would a low precursor-forming burst be more effective than a surface burst? What effect did the characteristics of the ground surface have on the effects of a low burst? Answers to these questions were important objectives of the MET shot. The area layout of MET called for 3 types of surfaces: the desert, or dusty precursor-forming surface, the asphalt, or non-dusty precursor-forming surface, which would absorb thermal radiation, the water, or non-dusty, non-precursor-forming surface, which would reflect thermal radiation. Along the 3 blast lines, jeeps, as drag-type targets sensitive to dust loading, were parked at various orientations at predetermined distances from ground zero. Likewise, drag-type structural elements and simple shapes were positioned. Some were concrete cubicles with instrumentation mounted on them. Some were old Upshot Knot Hole structures, such as the bridge members and trusses, water tanks of welded and riveted construction, and several of the existing test structures. Some structures were covered with 3 feet of earth to evaluate such protection from a blast wave estimated at 17 psi overpressure and 120 psi dynamic pressure. A special study of the effects of positive phase duration was begun on this shot. 2 sets of buildings were erected of steel frames with 2 different types of wall paneling. For example, the Teapot buildings were to be exposed to a positive shock phase duration of less than 1 second at 3 to 7 psi. Rounding out the blast program were miscellaneous projects concerned with military equipment, field-type fortifications, machine gun emplacements, dugouts, and trenches. Since the drone program required daylight for operating purposes, MET had the further distinction of being the first daytime tower shot ever fired at the Nevada test site. While the expected yield was 28 kilotons, radiochemical analysis indicated a yield closer to 22 kilotons. The results of the surface blast program on the MET shot turned out to be largely as expected. a pronounced precursor formed over the asphalt line due to the high absorption of thermal radiation. The strong precursor effects extended over a greater distance than over the desert blast line. In general, the greatest drag force was measured on the desert line where dust density was greatest. Dust loading of the blast wave apparently contributed to the high total force instrument readings. Actual existence of the high total force was qualitatively confirmed by Jeep damage, which was much greater than on the asphalt line. Cloud growth studies were made throughout the Teapot series. The life history of each atomic cloud was recorded by time-lapse photography from birth to eventual dissipation by winds at altitude. Analysis was made of the influence of weather parameters on cloud evolution. Therefore, on development shots, Turk and Apple I, blast measurements were made from parachuted canisters and by rocket-laid smoke trails and shock photography. Analysis of these data indicated that the desired test conditions would occur at the altitudes of interest. Operations for the project were based at nearby Indian Springs Air Force Base.